What it do, Dream Team? It's your boy Neal back with another reaction video, guys. Here we are with why LeBron versus Jordan comparisons need to stop. Before we dive into this, make sure you subscribe to the channel, ring notification bell, get a video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. You guys got a favorite video suggestion? You can subscribe to Patreon or drop it in the comment section. What we got?
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today I am back with a video. This time once again we're gonna look at LeBron James as well as Michael Jordan, and very quickly I'm gonna explain why the comparison of these two players, it should stop right now after the 2022 season. So with that being said, let's get right into the video. So obviously, looking at both these players, they're all-time great NBA legends, and both these guys are my Mount Rushmore NBA players. But when you really get down to it, when you nitpick their resumes, their careers, and just the overall body of work, there's a Grand Canyon-sized gap between Jordan and LeBron James. And one thing you have to look at in both these players is their mentality and how they approach the game. For Michael Jordan, he was a cold-blooded killer, much like Kobe as well as Larry Bird. When it came to the big-time moments on the biggest stage, he never shied away, and of course, never lost a series in NBA Finals. And even looking further than that, 9 times in Jordan's career, he played all 82 games. Back in the day, NBA players, playing every single game was something you took pride in and you had to do if you were a superstar player. LeBron James in his era, out of 19 years, has played every game only 1 time in his career.
I feel like going to the finals 9 years in a row, he probably ended up playing more than 82 games in a season. I don't know if they could add up the amount of games, but he went 9 times in a row, so I'm like, he probably ended up playing more than 82 games 9 seasons in a row. Wow, keep it going, my bad.
19 years, has played every game only 1 time in his career, that being in 2018. Also, one major difference in their overall mentalities is that Jordan never demanded trades, never built a super team, and really
didn't have to
for any of his rosters.
He didn't have
for LeBron,
to.
He's built 3 different super teams, that being Miami, Cleveland, as well as LA. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And speaking of those failures, in LeBron's career, he's responsible for the 2 most disappointing teams in NBA history, that being the 2011 Heat and the 2022 LA Lakers. Both teams had a big 3, they underachieved, and ultimately failed to win a championship in their respective seasons. When it comes to Michael Jordan and playing on a super team, I would argue he actually never did. But the one year you could argue was 1996, when he won 72 games, won the MVP, the All-Star MVP, the Finals MVP, was first team all defense, as well as the scoring champ. The 96 Bulls had sky-high expectations with the big 3 of Rodman, Jordan, and Pippen.
You had a cool coach, and everybody, all I be hearing is how underrated Kukoc was, how great Kukoc was. He had the jumper, he could pass, he could do this, he could do that. Here's so many great things about Kukoc. People talk Ron Harper, before MJ, averaged 20 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. Solid player right there. But come on now. You know what I feel like? A lot of these people would be like, LeBron had a super, and LeBron has had super teams. Don't get it twisted. I feel like a lot of people will count 36, 37-year-old Carmelo as, and they count him as like LeBron played with prime Carmelo Anthony. You feel me? It's like, that's a different Carmelo then. He's not super anymore. He's not a superstar anymore. He's not an all-star anymore. I hate, and I'm not trying to disrespect Melo in any way. That count Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard was not a star anymore by the time he got to LA. He had AD and he had Russ, and know what I'm saying? I'll give you that. But AD was hurt most of the season. AD was never really in the lineup. But keep it going. My bad.
Sky-high expectations with the big 3 of Rodman, Jordan, and Pippen. And unlike LeBron's big 3 this year, they came through and won the championship in dominant fashion. And speaking of Jordan's Bulls big 3, in '98, They were the oldest team in the NBA, as well as the oldest champion in NBA history, with an average age just above 32. That year, Rodman, he was 36, Jordan was 35, Pippen was 33, and Ron Harper was 34 years old.
Okay.
That was Michael Jordan's
bad.
Bulls team in 1998, winning the championship as the oldest team in the NBA. LeBron this year in LA, with his big three, and also the oldest roster, couldn't even make the play-in tournament, let alone the playoffs. And one last thing
He didn't have a big three. AD was hurt the whole season. If you took Scotty away almost that whole season, that team would have been near as good.
Can make the play-in tournament, let alone the playoffs.
Maybe they would have made the playoffs, though.
And one last thing I do want to harp on when speaking of mentality, Michael Jordan played through severe injuries in his later years. Looking back at 98, that year Jordan in the playoffs played with a broken finger at the age of 35 and still won the championship. Scottie Pippen that year had a bad back. Dennis Rodman, he was borderline washed. Tony Kukoc and Steve Kerr couldn't hit a mid-range jump shot, and Ron Harper's knees had gone out. There were no excuses, no caveats, no explanations. That Bulls team still got the job done through severe injuries.
So they must not have been that bad.
And speaking of injuries, Michael Jordan from the Washington Wizards had his fair share. He had his knees drained multiple times, he had back injuries, and still in his last ever year, at age 40, played all 82 games in severe pain.
And didn't make the playoffs.
This year in the NBA...
Because you know why he didn't make the playoffs? Because he didn't have help. Because he didn't have help in Washington. I don't care how great you are, you need adequate help. But he never gets dissed for that. Those years don't count. Washington years don't count.
Played all 82 games in severe pain. This year in the NBA, looking at every player, only 5 guys have played every game. Now, for the second part of this video, while the Jordan-LeBron debate should stop, I want to go really in-depth and look at LeBron's black marks on his resume. Go back to the 07 Finals, LeBron's first ever Finals appearance. Of course, in this series, he was undermanned and his back was against the wall. But still, for that series, he had a pretty poor showing, only averaging 22.76 with 5.8 turnovers on 36, 20, and 69 splits. That series, Cleveland was swept 4-0. You can make all the excuses you want. LeBron was young, his team wasn't good, he had to carry them. Say whatever you want.
He did.
But when looking at Michael Jordan's career, even against the best defensive team of his era, that being the Pistons, he still dominated the 4 times he played them.
But did he ever get to the finals without Scotty, though? Before Scotty came, before he got a solid second man, when he didn't have a team, when he was young and he didn't have a team around him, did he ever carry him to the finals? You're looking at stats, but these are stats that didn't make it to the finals. Well, let's look at LeBron's stats before those finals, before he got that team to that finals. What were his stats before he had to play San Antonio?
That being the Pistons, he still dominated the 4 times he played them. Look at his career playoff average versus Detroit. He averaged 30 points per game, nearly 7 boards, 6.1 assists, 3.3 turnovers on 48, 30, and 81 splits. In a single series, never averaged less than 27 and shot below 45%. And going back to LeBron James, looking at his black marks, in 2010 versus Boston, as the favorite, up 2-1, LeBron James choked the final 3 games, with Cleveland losing all those games. In that stretch, averaging 21, 11, and 8 with 6.3 turnovers on pitiful 34, 15, and 74 splits, and losing a playoff series as the favorite for the second straight.
Only black mark I give against LeBron is at Miami, because he actually had help. When we lost to Dallas, there was no way on God's green earth we should have lost to Dallas Mavericks. But all this stuff before, he didn't have the adequate guys around him to win championships. I don't care how great you are, every superstar needs help. The great Michael Jordan needed a great team You need great teams to win. And of course, when teams can lock in on you because they're not worried about anybody else, this is some of the numbers that happen. Now these numbers are underwhelming. I'll give you that. LeBron definitely didn't have a 3-point shot coming into the league. Definitely developed that a whole lot more. And he could have played better. It was 21, 11, and 8. Pretty good. 6 turnovers, not good. But field goal percentage, not very good. But you surrounded him with some better players, and those numbers look better.
74 splits, and losing a playoff series as the favorite for the second straight season. And looking at the 2011 finals,
I'll give you that's a black
series,
mark. That's a black
even
mark.
Worse, averaging 17.8 points per game, the 5th highest in the series, 7.2 boards, 6.8 assists, 4.0 turnovers on 48-32 and 60.
That's
splits.
Unacceptable. That was
in game
ugly.
4 of that series,
that was ugly.
He scored 8 points.
Yeah.
When it came to fourth quarter clutch time scoring, shot a pitiful 34% from the field.
Was not
when
good.
it comes to Michael Jordan and his worst ever final series, that was 96 versus the Sonics, one of the best defensive teams in NBA history. Still, Jordan in that series averaged 27 points per game, 5 boards and 4 assists, on 42-32 and 84 splits. Michael Jordan's worst ever finals performance was averaging 27 a game. Keep that in perspective when talking about LeBron James and his overall greatness. And lastly, looking at LeBron's time in LA, this was the nail in the coffin for his GOAT argument. Looking at 2019, the Lakers, they won 37 games.
Mike ain't even. Now you're comparing years that Mike didn't even play compared to LeBron. You're going into LeBron's 15, 16, 17 season when Mike didn't even play this long. And you're comparing these years. Well, it's cool. It's
GOAT
cool.
argument. Looking at 2019, the Lakers, they won 37 games. They missed the playoffs. LeBron James activated playoff mode and proceeded to flame out. 2020, they won the bubble championship.
Yes,
2021, they won 42 games and won first round exit.
Yes, sir.
With the big three, only won 31 total games. They were 11th in the
Big
West
two,
and somehow missed the play-in tournament. When looking at Michael Jordan's career, you can't find a single year where he was a massive disappointment. You could argue 1985 when he came back for 17 games and flamed out versus the Magic, but that's a very hard case to make. And if you really want to get down to it, just looking at the better overall player when it comes to playoffs, Michael Jordan at his best in the playoffs was better than LeBron, and LeBron at his worst in the playoffs was worse than Jordan. It's a pretty simplistic way of looking at it, but it paints a pretty good picture.
His best was better than? What's his best numbers? I know he averaged once he like 40, but I asked LeBron to average from mid 30-point triple dubs in a play. His best performances, I don't know about.
Worse than Jordan.
I don't know.
It's a pretty simplistic way of looking at it, but it paints a pretty good picture of both these players. Now, for part 3, the final part of this video, let's look past the stats and really dive deep.
Of course you're going to look past the stats.
When looking at two players from two different eras, already your back's against the wall when comparing them. The 1990s had better defense, better rivalries, it was more physical. The 2010s, LeBron's era, they had better athletes, better shooters, and the overall offensive schemes were more advanced.
For sure.
LeBron, his career, has better longevity, but Jordan had a better prime. The overall debate, it could be endless, and really there is no true answer of who the better or even greater player is. Like me, you can have your opinion and base it all in facts. But at the end of the day, it's still an opinion, and nothing is certain from comparing two players from two different eras. That right there is why I love player comparisons. It's debating, it's going back and forth, you make your point, you counterpoint. It really goes beyond basketball and it transcends sports. And I think debating greatness, it'll always be a conversation, and these two guys will always be linked. So my final point, my final message, we're looking at LeBron and Jordan. Me personally, I think Jordan is the better and greater player. I think he'll always be that, as LeBron James is 37. But for younger NBA fans, next generation, maybe their opinion will be different, and their criteria won't resemble mine. That's why I love these debates and looking at NBA GOATs like LeBron as well as Michael Jordan. So with that being said, that is the end of the video. That's my final point and my overall summary of the Jordan versus LeBron debate. As always, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you guys next time.
Although I disagree with his opinions, it's respectable. If somebody says they got Jordan as their goal, I'm not going to argue with you because it's going to be an endless back and forth argument. And I definitely do respect Michael Jordan's game. Like, he's one of the most phenomenal players to ever play basketball. Don't agree that he's the greatest, but if you think he is, then I won't argue. That's all we got. You guys got a favorite video suggestion, you can subscribe to Patreon or drop it in the comment section. Subscribe to the channel, ring notification bell, get a video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. Social media, Patreon, all up top. You can subscribe to any of it. Put all the links in the description. All you gotta do is hit the link, follow me, talk to me. Love talking to you guys. You guys are the most incredible team on YouTube. It's your boy Neal. Out.